Thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Hey, no problem, man. So, just to start it off, I want to tell everybody thanks for coming in for episode 5. This is my first episode where I feel comfortable talking, and there will be no mess ups in the audio thanks to my technician. So, big shout out to him. But we have a big guest today, and we're not going to go too long. So, we're going to get straight into it with him. Keith from Time Magazine. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this morning, GM.
GM, man. So for those that don't know, a quick rundown of Keith. He's been in the industry for about 20 years now. He started as an intern at Wired, would then go to Bloomberg Media, and then you find him now as the president of Time Magazine. So whenever you started, Keith, I mean, you started at Wired, but didn't go to Bloomberg. Has this media background kind of brought you into the NFT world?
So, yeah, in a way. I mean, as you mentioned, I started my career at Wired, right? So you have to put things in perspective as to, why is Time doing certain things today? And usually it's because of the leadership, right? And also the marketplace. And my background in Wired exposed me to the crypto space back in 2013, and I have been a huge fan of it since. I love art. When I went to Bloomberg because I love business. And so picture, right, like the combination of crypto plus art plus business is kind of like a match made in heaven for NFTs. And it wasn't like there was no plan at time to enter into the NFT space or even into the crypto space. I jokingly have said this in the past that the great philosopher Mike Tyson has this quote that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And like the plan at the beginning of the year had us going in a completely different direction, but then the Nyan Cat drop occurred. And for some reason, when we saw that, it just all clicked. And I remember saying to our owner and to our CEO, I said, we can do that. And from that point on, like the rest is history.
It's not only has it been history, I think it's been pretty big for Time. So whenever we talk about Time, we have Time Pieces, which is what Time has came out with. And so a rundown on that, like you guys have the Genesis collection, the Inspiration collection, the Naya collection, which is a super cool collection for those that don't know. It's a 12-year-old digital creator who I believe is the creator of the Long Necky Ladies, correct?
Correct.
And is Timepiece's first artist in residence. So that's crazy that Time was able to give such a young woman a platform at such a high level. Not only that, we talked about in the server how, like we said, we have the Genesis pieces and stuff like that, but one thing that Genesis pieces can see sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes, is a utility of in real life events. Is there anything you can speak on with that?
Sure. So, you mentioned timepieces, but, Time's entry into the crypto space is so much more, right? It started back in March, and we started with one-of-ones, right? Where we were doing exclusive one-of-ones of our covers, and we do those on Super Rare. And they've been very successful, and we treat those like it's the high-end art market, right? Very specific, like we control supply and demand. We only choose very specific covers. We will not ever flood the market, and whatnot. We then went on, by the way, to accept 32 different cryptocurrencies for digital subscriptions, which you can see on time.com/hodl, which is my bad sense of humor. But everyone thought it was funny internally, and so we pushed forward with that as the screen name for it, or the URL for it. We did deals with both Grayscale, where they paid us in Bitcoin, and we hold Bitcoin on our books, and we did a deal with Galaxy, where they paid us in Ethereum, and we hold Ethereum in our books. Wow. And then we launched Timepieces, right? So
okay.
I say, and we shifted one of our partner sites Next Advisor in partnership with them towards covering crypto education within the financial space. If you go to time.com/nextadvisor, and that makes up roughly 40% of their traffic now, right? So the idea of not only validating but onboarding people with trustworthy content is really important to us, and as we, look at this trend continue to emerge. As it relates to timepieces, though, we just knew early on, and I was pretty confident early on that we'd be able to figure out over time how we can use NFTs as a token and a blockchain to create a different type of experience with our community. And that was the goal from the get-go. And it took 6-7 months of just listening in Clubhouse and Spaces and asking a lot of questions from the community for us to come up with what timepieces was. But, one of the things that we have that I think is really important is we have access to some incredible talent.
Yeah.
We have access to some incredible events. And we have access to this brand that has distribution to over 100 million people a month that I think really puts us in a unique position. And so as we slowly turn all those on, the first sort of spigot that we wanted to make sure we did was celebrate the creatives and the artists within the community. And so that we did the artist talks. Then we wanted to show that we could start to bring in some really incredible individuals. So that's why we brought in and did some talks for, collectors of all of these pieces with people like Deepak Chopra and Emilia Clarke of Game of Thrones. That was gated off for timepiece collectors. And then the final sort of straw of this strategy is we have in real life experiences that, money can't buy. And some of them are things that we can do through partnerships, right? Like what we're doing with Ledger. And, our partnership with Ledger allows us to provide Genesis holders with 2 tickets to attend their event in Paris. But the other is what we control, which is things like Person of the Year. And so we held a contest and we named 5 winners of this on Twitter and within our Discord channel. And the 5 winners all got invited to our Person of the Year event last week in New York City. And I mean, to give you an idea, this is an event that, not only was Elon Musk at and where he spoke, so he was present. Alicia Keys performed. Francis Hogan of Facebook was there to speak. Martha Stewart was there. Jim Cramer was there. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, this is a legitimately amazing experience. And, one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is we bring our brand from what I would say is it's Web 2 reality into the Web 3 ecosystem. There's elements of the Web 3 ecosystem that make our brand so much better. And there's elements of the Web 2 ecosystem that can allow us to distinguish ourselves in the Web 3 ecosystem and make us so unique. And we want to make sure that we use the best of both to sort of push into each other.
Peace. That's amazing. Not only everything going on with time and the timepieces, and you spoke about it in the middle of that a little bit. Whenever the one of one covers and stuff, I had always thought it was timepieces being the entry into NFTs. So that's actually amazing to learn the prior history, and I'll be checking out those covers as well. Do you feel entering? Because whenever I first saw Time enter anything, I was in the Cool Cat server, and you had popped in. You had talked to someone, and this was back, I don't know, might have been September maybe. And just seeing someone of like your level come in there and be so interactive, being so friendly, blew my mind. Instantly made me look into Time. Do you feel like entering these other communities really help, not really build the foundation for timepieces, but help you guys know which direction you want to go?
I'll answer if I may, Sniper. I'll take a step back on a few things. I'll answer a few things. One is you should check out our pieces on Super Rare. The last two covers that were sold each went for 99 ETH a piece. Okay, so these are not small one-of-one pieces. The last one was the first person of the year ever, which was Charles Lindbergh, and we provided the original issue along with that. And then the other one was an original Chagall cover that Marc Chagall did the cover of, and we provided the original issue for that as well. And then we did one with Beeple, where Beeple did a cover of Time, and that one was actually sold over the summer for about $320,000, and then Starry Night Capital bought it in October for $2.4 million.
Wow!
So it's really amazing. Like the one of ones is a completely different experience and entryway into the space. But to your original thing, first, I have to start by saying, I love the cats. I genuinely do. And, I've owned many cats and I've sold many cats, but I've always held on to two cats. And you can look, and I've had them since they were 0.48 and 0.78 ETH a piece.
Absolutely.
And I love the cats for a lot of reasons. I love the cats because Tom and Colin and Ed and Robert, like they all really from the get-go, like set up a community that I thought was optimistic and positive and inclusive, and made me realize, like, wow, the same way that you interacted with me and you were like, how could somebody of this level in the corporate world engage here? Like, I had the same sort of feeling. And I was like, how can like such a large community just be so accepting and nice to me? And how can this community just answer all my stupid questions, to be honest, in the beginning and to this day even. And so, when the timepieces, and I constantly reference this, the Cool Cats were the original influence of me realizing the value of community, and also understanding that, people are misunderstanding what some of these collections really are about. They look at it and they see a JPEG, but what they don't see under it is sort of the community and how much the community actually looks after each other and has each other's backs. And I love that. That's actually my favorite aspect of the Web3 arena. But there are other communities too that have done great jobs too. Like I think the Robotos and Deadfellas, are also very positive, inclusive communities. Toy Boogers is a very positive, inclusive community. Smiles, the same thing. And the Littles, I can go on and on and on. But, for me, all of these communities, all of the clubhouse rooms, all of the spaces, all of the conversation led to timepieces, influenced timepieces, right? Like timepieces was born out of realizing sort of like, whoa, this is a tectonic shift that's taking place in how consumers are interacting with brands and how consumers are interacting with creators. And I constantly reference this tweet that Farouk put out. And the tweet was, Web 2, the equation is platform finds a creator, which attracts a community, but Web 3 is the community endorses a creator that is then enveloped by a platform. And I was really adamant from just spending all my time in these communities and talking to everyone and really learning from everyone that the latter equation was really true. And it was exactly how we had to, as time, enter into the space. So to answer your question, 100% did these communities influence timepieces? And the second part of your question, like 100%, the Cool Cats probably had the largest influence of any of the communities, specifically, and this is not to single out favoritism in any of the cats because I like all four of them equally, but like Tom had gone out of his way in every instance to make sure that he answered like every question that I had, and really they've been wonderful partners.
No, Cool Cats are definitely a great team. I've got the chance to know all four of them: Kalon, Tom, Elu, and Link since early July. Some people know that Kalon gifted me my first cool cat back in July, uh, and it's my forever cat, and I'm forever grateful for that. But it's amazing to hear that you grab influence from them, and that's what made me ask you that exact question, because when I came into the Time server, my first thoughts were going to be, this is going to be a super busy server. I'm sure there's going to be a timer on it. I'll probably get a word off every other day. No, that was absolutely wrong. I go into the Time server. Um, I have tons of people showing love, being so genuine, and I can't name a lot of places where you go into the server, get that type of love other than Cool Cats, places like Toy Boogers, and to see someone like yourself replying to just so many people and answering any type of question, making sure people know. You have people like Wise Guy, people like Timo, who comes from the Cool Cat community. Anytime I've ever had a question, he's been on it. It could be middle of the night and Timo's been on it. And it's just amazing to see people that genuinely care about not only the project, but the people buying into the project. It don't feel like a rug by any means like you see with some other projects. But I say that to say this: Time has given the spotlight to a lot of artists, a lot of photography artists as well. People see NFTs, and like even with me, for example, a lot of my friends just think they're all profile pictures. Where do you think the photography NFTs can take us in 2022, since we see a lot of that from Time?
So, I mean, like, I'll step back for a second. I think, first off, thank you a lot. It means the world. I mean, if one job that you didn't reference, but in the beginning, but that had a huge impact on my life was Ars Technica. And, when I was at Wired, I also oversaw Ars Technica at one point with Maya, by the way, Miss Maya D, who is my right hand at Time. And we both were at Wired and Ars. And Ars did something fascinating, which was it hired all of its writers from the community. And I watched that people used to spend hours in the forums talking to each other at Ars. And I realized it was like really important that as we look at this Web3 sort of evolution, that like one of the strategies that we employ is that our best advocates are going to be hiring from within the community. And so not only did we hire Timo as a Time employee, but like we hired D-Dot as an infrastructure engineer. And so he's a full-time Time employee now. Whether I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but as we continue to invest and expand in timepieces, like that's a very important element of our strategy, is that the best talent to evolve a Web3 strategy is to hire from within the Web3 base and specifically within our community. To your question though on photography, I mean, I think it's not just photography, it's all art, right?
Right.
And when you think about Time, like, and I ask you like a very simple question, like, do you have a favorite Time cover? Like, let me ask you this right now. Do you, Sniper, have a favorite Time cover?
Okay, believe it or not,
Yep.
it would be a series. It's
Okay.
the red X covers.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? It's fine if it's a series or it's fine if it's a cover, because they both signify the exact same thing, which is a great creative somewhere. In some instances, it was a photographer. In some instances, it was an illustrator. In some instances, it was a designer or a sculptor or a painter. It doesn't make a difference. Captured the moment of the world in such a way that when framed with the red border of Time and put out into the world, it had an emotional connection with people. And that, to me, is the power of Time, is us being an elevating brand for creatives throughout the world, right? Of all different disciplines. Photography being one of them. Photography is a fascinating discipline. Most people have an emotional connection with photography before they have a logical connection with photography. Most people say, wow, before they say, oh, I like that style or I don't like that style. Whereas with other types of disciplines, people oftentimes go, oh, I like that style, I don't like that style. Now let me look at it and concentrate and have the emotional reaction. And so it's not surprising that like a lot of the photographers, whether they're John Knopf or Kath Simard or Jan Silva or others, and we have a slew coming down, or why we partnered with the Photo Vault team and brought them into our ecosystem. It's not surprising because like they stand for at the core exactly what time stands for, which is, you know, how do you elevate these emotional connections with people?
Man, that's like I said in the time server, listening in on the time hall literally made me want to go get a camera because I love photography, but I never figured anybody would want to see like what I take pictures of. But being somewhere in the South, it really makes me want to go get a camera and capture everything that I'm doing and stuff. Like I have 22,000 pictures on my phone from just always taking pictures. It's always been a thing, and it's really time has given me that inspiration to go capture the moment. So it's super cool to see you guys doing that and keep the tradition. How I feel going from traditional magazines, art, going into this digital realm. And I know you don't have too much time. You probably have about 5, 6 more minutes. So the last thing I wanted to discuss, we talk about giving these artist platforms. Time Studios, which is the film and TV production division of Time. Y'all will be developing a animated children's show based on the NFT by Pablo Stanley, known as Robotos, which y'all just did a airdrop with them. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I mean, so here's my view is there's a lot of amazing. First off, I love that we're inspiring you to take action.
Oh, you
And I hope you do grab a camera and take pictures and put it out there. You know, I think a lot of the reason that a lot of artists are seeing a lot of success in the NFT space is because previously they were tied to local economics and local constituencies. And all of a sudden, for the first time ever, people are exposed to new types of art that they may not have. Like I would never have, I own a piece by an artist named Billy Alter, who's located out of Mexico. You know, I would have never in a million years had the opportunity to buy his work if it wasn't for the NFT ecosystem. And he probably never would have gotten in front of me to sell his work. And he probably sold his work to me, and it wasn't an expensive piece, but more than what he could locally. But what people are beginning to realize is that the connectivity and the access is unparalleled. And when you apply the long tail to the world, there's a lot of money to be had for artists that previously was unavailable. And so I look at this NFT space. This is a long-winded answer to your studio's question, so I apologize. But I look at the NFT space, and I think to myself, wow, here you have these incredible communities. And the communities have owners, and then they have community members, and they have advocates, and they have people who have invested in them because they believe in the leadership team, and they believe in the creative, and they just enjoy sort of associating themselves with the brand, right, of something like the Robotos. And I look at that, and I think to myself, why is that creativity solely relegated to the NFT space? And you know, one of the really powerful things that we have at Time that I love is this division called Time Studios. And this is the division that, did the Kanye West documentary that we sold to Netflix that will come out in January. This is the division that did the Inspiration 4 launch. This is a team that does a lot of content for network TVs. And so why wouldn't we look at the great IP that's happening in the NFT space that I'm exposed to every day? And why not look at that and say, this doesn't have to solely sit in the NFT space. This can have mass broad appeal. And so, we own Time for Kids. We have Time Studios. And, these are very complementary items to sort of the NFT world. And the best aspect, to be honest, that I love, and in speaking to, Maria Perez Brown, who, was the individual on my team that structured the deal with Pablo, is like the same way that there's no barriers for collectors and creators and collectors in the NFT space. There was no barriers for Pablo and Maria to get together. I literally went into the office and I said, Maria, can you please have dinner with him and just sit down and have a conversation? And that dinner that she and Pablo had led to a handshake that led to the announcement. And one thing I can assure you, and this is not alpha, it's kind of alpha, it's not really alpha, but it's like I've said this before, is the Robotos are not the only one. You're going to see in the coming months multiple communities that we've structured agreements with to do the same thing, because like I genuinely believe some of the best creativity is coming out of this space.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's a little alpha to me. I won't say it's alpha, but it's alpha to me. So I feel like I have a strong sense of maybe who it could be, but that's absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to apologize real quick if I seemed maybe like I was just shooting questions. I know you're really busy today.
No. I hope this was a helpful conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I very much enjoyed it myself. Now, let me ask you this on the photography front.
Yes.
Who's your favorite photographer in the space?
Honestly, I don't want to just give you an answer to give you an answer. People that I've seen.
Give me 2 or 3 people that you say, wow, they blew my mind. How about that? Not your favorite, but wow, they blew my mind.
Hands down, have to go with Drifter Shoots. Where my vans go, I've mentioned it in podcasts before. That takes not only courage to do what he does, but that takes discipline. What he did for how long he's done it, that's not an easy task of any means. And continuing photography, I have a big respect for any of the people that have followed their journey. And even before NFTs, they've been strong photographers. They've wanted to give what they have to the world. But yeah, Drifter Shoot is definitely one person who I see on my timeline a lot, and I'm like, wow, that's great art.
So then here's real alpha, and I'll tell on your podcast that has not been unveiled, which is in our next drop in mid-January, Isaac is part of it.
Man, and Isaac is Drifter for those who don't know.
Isaac Wright is Drifter.
Wow.
Okay, and he is one amazing individual, and I use that term amazing lightly. He has an incredible story if you haven't seen it. He's incredibly talented, and the shots that he takes are unbelievable, to say the least.
Unbelievable. The angles, the positions, the places he goes, unbelievable. I do want to say, Keith, you did mention in your last statement, NFTs have been making a lot of things possible. I'm extremely honored and blessed that NFTs gave me the opportunity to bring you onto the podcast. Being the president of Time, that's a very big title, and I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll be in New York next year with my friends, so hopefully I can come by and get the chance to meet you. But yeah, I can't thank you enough, man. This means the absolute world to me that you stopped by today.
No, Sniper, the pleasure was mine. And for everyone who didn't hear the beginning of our conversation, Sniper has no negative intonations. He is the nicest person. I love having you part of the Timepiece community, and thank you for your continued support and everything. And I hope you have a happy holidays, and I hope you stay safe.
Absolutely. You have a great holidays too. And people should be hearing this honestly as soon as I'm done here. So I hope you have a great day, man. And good luck on the journey with time and everything else.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too, man.
Bye.
So for everybody, to wrap everything up, having Keith in today was a big thing. Just a quick thing that we didn't cover at the beginning. I usually do floor prices and large sales. Just to run through that real quick, starting next episode, we'll do that at the beginning again. Keith was just walking through Times Square, so he was on a little bit of a schedule. But we do have Bored Apes still sitting at 51. Cool Cats would drop from 7.5 to 6.6 while I'm writing this. Robotos, like we talked about, would drop from 0.6 to 0.479. Creatures would go from 1.5 to 1.06, and Doodles would take the jump from 2.5 to 3.1. Lastly, the only large sales we had in the last following days, we had CryptoPunk 9137 sell for 310 ETH, which would be a $1.2 million sale. BAYC would sell 118 to Steve Aoki for an accepted offer of 200 WETH. Steve Aoki would then, for some reason, go to list it for 555 ETH 6 to 7 hours later. So big shout out to him, whatever he's doing with that project. But yeah. Oh, and I meant to say Central Park. He's walking through Central Park. But yeah, quick spotlight for some projects that we mentioned: Timepieces, Toy Boogers. Big shout out to them. Love what they're doing. Cool Cats. And yeah, I really don't even know what to tell you guys. I'm just really thankful for everyone listening in. Thankful for Keith coming on. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great day, and you will catch us next week, I believe, right before the new year starts, or we might be into the new year. So everyone have a great Christmas and be safe for the holidays. See ya.